The history of radio spans several centuries, with key developments taking place across different eras. Here's a detailed timeline of the evolution of radio, beginning with early concepts in the 1500s and continuing to the modern era, 1500s-1700s. Early concepts of sound transmission 1500s. Early concepts of sound transmission and acoustics. Inventions like the speaking tube, an early form of sound transmission, became common in the late 1500s. Robert Hooke and other scientists of the time experimented with sound waves, laying the groundwork for later theories on how sound could be transmitted across distances. 1800s. Birth of electrical communication 1830s, telegraphy and early electrical experiments. While not directly related to radio, the development of the telegraph and experiments with electricity set the stage for the later discovery of radio waves. Sir Francis Reynolds builds the first working electrical telegraph in 1816, and Carl Friedrich Gauss and Wilhelm Weber work on the development of electrical telegraphs in the 1830s. 1860s, electromagnetic waves. James Clerk Maxwell develops the theory of electromagnetic waves, suggesting that light, heat, and electricity could be transmitted as waves through space. 1873, Maxwell's equations. Maxwell's equations are published, showing the mathematical relationship of electricity, magnetism, and light. These equations form the foundation of electromagnetic wave theory. 1890s, the birth of radio 1893, Nikola Tesla and radio waves. Nikola Tesla demonstrates the transmission of electromagnetic waves through the air, laying the groundwork for wireless communication. 1894 to 1895, Guglielmo Marconi. Marconi begins experimenting with wireless telegraphy, building on Tesla's work and achieving early successes in sending Morse code signals over long distances without wires. 1896, first wireless transmission. Marconi successfully transmits a wireless signal over a distance of about 1.5 miles in England, marking a significant milestone in the development of radio. 1897, Marconi's first patent. Marconi receives a patent for his wireless telegraphy system, which becomes the foundation for modern radio communication. Early 1900s, development and commercialization 1901, first transatlantic radio signal. Marconi successfully transmits a wireless signal from Cornwall, England, to Newfoundland, Canada, proving that long-range wireless communication was possible. 1906, Audion tube invention. Lita Forrest invents the Audion tube, an early amplifier, which greatly improves the ability to send and receive radio signals. 1909, Nobel Prize for Radio. Guglielmo Marconi and Carl Ferdinand Braun are awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for their contributions to wireless telegraphy. 1912, Titanic disaster and radio regulation. The sinking of the RMS Titanic leads to the U.S. passing the Radio Act of 1912, requiring ships to maintain 24-hour radio communication and increasing regulation of radio frequencies. 1920s, the golden age of radio begins. 1920, first radio broadcast, KDKA in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, broadcasts the first commercial radio broadcast, announcing the results of the U.S. presidential election. This marks the birth of radio as a medium for entertainment and information. 1922, first radio advertisement. The first commercial radio advertisement airs, marking the beginning of radio as a commercial medium. 1927, Federal Radio Commission. The Radio Act of 1927 establishes the Federal Radio Commission, FRC, in the United States, creating the foundation for regulating radio stations and frequencies. 1930s 1940s, expansion and influence of radio. 1930s, radio becomes a dominant medium. During the Great Depression, radio becomes the primary source of news. entertainment, and political communication. Programs like The Lone Ranger, The Shadow, and The Green Hornet become popular. 1933, FM radio development. Edwin Armstrong demonstrates frequency modulation, FM, radio, which offers better sound quality and less interference than amplitude modulation, AM, radio. 1939, World War II and radio's role. Radio plays a key role in communication during World War II, with live broadcasts bringing news of the war to audiences across the world. 1940s, World War II and radio broadcasting. Radio continues to evolve during WI, with significant developments in military communication systems, including the use of radio for coordinating troops and transmitting encrypted messages. 1950s 1960s, television and the decline of radio's dominance. 1950s, television takes over entertainment. Television begins to replace radio as the dominant source of home entertainment. However, radio maintains a strong presence as a medium for news, talk shows, and music. 1960s, Top 40 radio format. The rise of the Top 40 format on radio stations transforms the music industry, with stations playing the most popular hits in a 40-song rotation. 1970s 1990s, the rise of specialized radio. 1970s, the rise of FM radio. FM radio becomes widely adopted for music broadcasting, providing clearer sound quality than AM radio. 1980s, talk radio boom. Talk radio, particularly conservative talk radio, becomes a significant part of the radio landscape, with figures like Rush Limbaugh gaining national prominence. 1990s, satellite radio. The first satellite radio broadcasts begin, offering a more extensive range of programming options and leading to the creation of services like SiriusXM. 2000s present, digital and Internet radio. 2000s, Internet radio. Internet radio begins to gain popularity, with stations like Pandora, Spotify, and iHeartRadio allowing listeners to stream music and radio shows online. 2004, podcasting. The rise of podcasting allows people to download and listen to radio-like programs on demand, further expanding the influence of radio. 2010s, smartphones and apps. Smartphones become key devices for accessing radio stations and digital content via apps like TuneIn and streaming services, further blending the lines between traditional radio and online media. 2020s, the evolution of digital radio. Radio continues to adapt to new technologies, with more stations broadcasting online, through satellite, and via digital platforms. The emergence of artificial intelligence and personalized programming is reshaping the way people consume radio. Key innovations and milestones in radio history. Invention of the audio tube, 1906, allowed for the amplification of radio signals. FM radio, 1933, Edwin Armstrong's invention significantly improved radio sound quality. Satellite radio, 1990s, expanded radio to new audiences with a broad range of content. Internet and podcasting, 2000s, allowed on-demand access to content and shifted the traditional radio model to digital platforms. Radio has evolved from simple experiments with electromagnetic waves to a global, multimedia force, continuously adapting to changes in technology and consumer behavior. Its history is closely tied to the development of telecommunications, broadcasting, and digital media, marking it as a vital medium for entertainment, news, and communication across the world. For Omni,